Imagine yourself in a forest, or maybe in the woods, maybe at night, or even during the day, and you spot a creature incredibly massive in size, maybe almost 10 feet tall, charging towards you. What are you gonna do? You probably would just say your last prayer, because that might be the last thing you know on planet Earth. But based on what's happening, the mystical creature Bigfoot has not been known for causing violence or attacking people. Instead, the few people who have spotted this colossal beast, most of them have reported that the beast would rather flee from them and prevent these researchers from keeping long tabs on them, as if they are hiding and wouldn't want to be seen. I'll be showing you 19 of the most shocking and exciting Bigfoot sightings and encounters, and you tell me what you think of the American mythology creature in these sightings recorded. Doug Teague was a Bigfoot hunter who resided in Hickory, North Carolina. On this particular day, Doug was taking a walk in the woods just outside the city when he heard some very large knocking in the distance. His curiosity led him to follow the noise until he got to a point where he could see what was making the noise, a very unrecognizable creature. He decided to start recording. Alongside the sight of this creature, he also saw the really large footprint of this creature, and when analyzed by specialists, they claimed that, as large as those footprints were, they would belong to a 15-foot creature. But it could be anything really, including being the highly anticipated Sasquatch. Beardcard was a YouTuber who was camping with a couple of his friends at Provo Canyon, Utah. While they were camping, they spotted a bear, and in an effort to see it better, they decided to get closer. But when they got closer, they beheld something else. Mind you, Beardcard was recording the sighting live on his YouTube channel. This happened in 2012. As they got closer, it was still kind of blurry, as some branches were blocking the view of this so-called bear. But getting closer, the figure looked like it stood upright like a human and was looking massive. They began to retreat carefully, and when the creature moved, they all took to their heels. This family could be seen having a really relaxing evening by target shooting in a location that we don't seem to know. There was a helicopter flying above, so I presume that maybe the instructor was teaching the lad how to shoot a shotgun properly. Then we see in the background that after a few shots, a very dark and intimidating figure is spotted fleeing, probably from the sounds of the gunshots. They didn't even know until later, when they were checking out the videos they made, that they saw this movement as the creature moved on foot, leaping through the snowy field before getting down on all fours. Grab your equipment and don't forget to bring along your hiking boots, as we are heading over to the mountains at San Gabriel in California. This occurrence took place in 2020 when this hiker was just moving around the terrains of the mountains, and then he decided to take some pictures and probably some videos of the vegetation around and below. That was when he spotted this creature looking at least 10 to 15 feet tall. A very clear picture of this beast was taken, and we could well say this was one of the clearest images of the elusive Bigfoot. In 2015, a mushroom hunter found more than a mushroom as he was ransacking a mushroom forest located in northern Illinois for mushrooms, obviously. But then what he experienced next is something he didn't expect. I even didn't expect it.
And this one. And there's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh?
He was observing the mushrooms he spotted, and he was making a video of them to be uploaded on his YouTube channel, Tomorrow's Garden. When he heard a damn and legitimately loud roar from the woods, this was scary and would have been scarier had it been heard at night. Immediately he said, "It's time to go," and he hurried out of the woods. Had it been personas dedicated to catching Bigfoot, they would have ventured in and possibly met face to face with the mythical creature. Many, and most of the Bigfoot sightings of all time have majorly and possibly only been from the United States, and it's pretty understandable since the Yeti is an American mythology creature. But there have been little sightings in the UK also, as Lee Brickley claimed to have spotted some really large footprints and claw marks, which were too big to belong to any animal, in the Cannock Chase, Staffordshire forest that is well known for its mystical and unknown sightings of werewolves, UFOs, and even Bigfoot. The town of Pennsylvania has had its enormous portion of very intriguing Bigfoot encounters that have been documented right from the 1800s, where there was a long series of wild man encounters that terrified the inhabitants of the town. Then the biggest evidence they had was a spotting of a really large footprint found in the mud. It was really clear, and that foot had exactly 6 toes. For sure, it wasn't human, and it measured about 17 inches. Meanwhile, there have been reports of a certain beast, Bigfoot in particular, terrorizing livestock and people. The case was not debunked, as well as it wasn't solved. It was reported by 2 brothers a sighting of a hairy humanoid that they spotted, approximately calculated to be around 7 feet tall. The family of these brothers were camping in the woods of the Tofino Forest, dated the 16th of July 2006, and then they both decided to go hiking in the woods as they went with a camera, hoping to capture a recording of a bear or a deer, as they were said to be numerous in the area. But as they got further into the forest, they ran back a bit as they spotted something quite intimidating. It was staring at them for a while, but then when they brought out the camera to take recordings, it fled, leaving only the huge footprints. A couple were hiking on a logging road, taking glimpses of the beautiful scenery of the environment on the remote mountain of Project British Columbia in July 2013, when the woman decided to record the wonderful essence of nature surrounding them. While recording, she spotted something on a ridge, a really dark figure that looked very hairy and huge walking. Although they were a far distance away from the figure, it was something that looked less human and more like Biggie. Famous for its numerous Bigfoot sightings, the Montana-Idaho border looks like a resting place and a significant abode for the Bigfoot monster, as it has been reported spotted countless times in this particular location. We were carrying out an expedition to the very famous deadly bomb in this Bigfoot-infested location when we came across a footprint. Yes, obviously a Bigfoot print, if you know what I mean. This print was measured to be about 14 inches in length and then 8 inches wide, far from the size of any human. This was definitely Biggie spotted in Montana. We made our way to Dry Bread Hollow as Matthew Anderson reportedly made eye contact with not one, but 2 Sasquatches. He wasn't hoping to find any, so he was not recording anything. He was on a phone call. When he looked up, he saw 2 Sasquatches, at least 8.5 feet in height. The first one was staring at him with a kind of defensive grin, while the other one stepped in front as it was trying to protect the sibling. He slowly made his way back to his buggy and then took off immediately. Coming over to Dry Bread Hollow, we saw several footprints, not 1 or 2 or 3, but many footprints, old and new, showing that they have been in this environment for quite some time. On the 28th of April 2009, retired Chief of State Investigator Michael Green decided that he was going to get actual evidence of a Sasquatch, as he had spent the past 20 years trying to figure out and gather proof of the beast's existence. He had briefly spotted a creature like that in 2002 and wanted to lure it out again, but this time to get it on camera. In the Uwharrie National Forest, North Carolina, he decided to make camp there and brought along a series of bait to lure the creature out. He camped there up until 11:30, when he heard some rustling and then left his tent quietly to his car. After 2 hours, he came back and saw all the snacks were gone. Using a thermal imager, he was able to spot a huge-looking being standing on both legs, picking up the treats and going back into the deep woods. This experience was by a hunter named Josh Highcliffe, who went hunting in a swampy part of the forest at Tunica, Mississippi. He was readily stripped for the hunt for the day, as he had his camouflage on also, but he decided to wait until it got a little bit dark, and then he'd start. Along the way, he saw a very hairy creature beside a tree as it bent down, probably scratching against it, or digging beside the tree, probably for something to eat. He had no idea what he was looking at, but thought it was a bear, until it got up, and he beheld this 9-foot monster Bigfoot. He took to his heels immediately, not looking back. Footage is becoming clearer these days due to new technology, and any recent sighting would be clear enough to decide if it's Bigfoot or not. In 2022, a YouTube channel, Ken's Carpentry, caught a rather interesting footage in Vermont woods of a Yeti strolling through the forest when his drone was looking for a bear and her 2 cubs but stumbled upon what might be the most evident evidence of Bigfoot's existence. In 2012, Craig Soule set up a trail camera on his property in Monomania, Michigan, to monitor a quarry. But that camera took more than pictures of the quarry. as he was going through the pictures and spotted one snap that captured an essence of a creature in the far distance, having a similar resemblance to the questionable Bigfoot character. Being a fan of the show Finding Bigfoot, he sent the video to them, and they made a whole episode about his finding. In the year 2001, a man named Jim Mills took some kids backpacking into the woods in the Marble Mountains, north of California. This Christian youth leader was taking them hiking through the mountains and the forest when they came across a camp, a tent not so little, made completely out of vegetation. All around, they noted the huge claw marks and the broken branches and logs used to make this tent. The first suspect of this creation was obviously Bigfoot, but if there were no footprints, could it really be Bigfoot? A family went for a drive around Craven, Saskatchewan, when all of a sudden they spotted a figure walking into the bushes by the side of the road, having the elusive figure of the presumed Bigfoot. Seeing this, they all grabbed their cameras and began to record this sight. Their recording was clear enough, as you could see clearly the hairy physique, the long arms, and the abruptly tall figure as it disappeared into the woods. Could this possibly be a real Sasquatch or just something coincidentally alike? Lastly, the cherry on top of all the Biggie sightings and related evidence. In 1967, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, two friends who believed in the tales and the mysterious existence of the creature, decided to shoot a movie about it, the whole plot being to find Bigfoot. In Orleans, California, before they started filming, they caught footage of a female Sasquatch passing by into the woods. And of course, a lot of controversy was stirred upon their claim because they were shooting a movie, and it could have well been someone wearing a costume. But both actors stand firm on their claim that they saw the creature, and it was not at all a member of their crew. So many conspiracy theories and controversy surround the existence of Biggie, but a lot points to the picture that Bigfoot is real, or is he? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Welcome to the top 12 creepiest Bigfoot videos ever. From eerie encounters in the wild to spine-chilling footage, these videos will have you questioning what's really out there. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, let's dive into the mystery of Bigfoot. Number 12. Encounter in Provo Canyon. The YouTuber known as Beardcard and his friends had a spine-chilling experience while camping in Provo Canyon near Squaw Peak and Little Rock Canyon. They spotted some deer up on a hill and decided to get a closer look. But as they approached, they saw what they initially thought was a bear. Just as they were trying to figure out what it was, the creature stood up and looked directly at them. Terrified, they ran straight back to their car, leaving their tent and gear behind. It was a chaotic retreat, and they're pretty sure their stuff is still up there. In their video, Beardcard and his friends are seen running for their lives. They told Fox 13 News that they had no idea what the creature was. Some people suggested it might just be someone in a gorilla suit trying to scare them. But with deer hunting season in full swing and hunters everywhere, they doubt anyone would be out there in a costume. They even ruled out the possibility of it being a bear. The group didn't believe in Bigfoot before this encounter, but now they're not so sure. Could it have been Bigfoot, or was it something else entirely? The mystery remains unsolved. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Number 11. The Beast of Gum Hill. On April 5, 2009, around 6:30 p.m., Ericus Maximus captured something extraordinary while riding his ATV through the trails of Gum Hill. Known for his explorations and a keen eye for the unusual, Ericus had heard the local legends of a creature called the Beast of Gum Hill, but never expected to see it himself. But that day he finally captured this hairy creature. This wasn't the first time Ericus had encountered the BOGH. He'd seen it once before, but it vanished before he could document the sighting. This time, however, his camera was rolling, and what he recorded could be the first ever video footage of this elusive beast. Described as a towering figure, around 7 feet tall, and estimated to weigh about 350 pounds, the BOGH is a reclusive, non-aggressive creature that has been the subject of local folklore for over a century. This video marks a new chapter in the BOGH legend, paying tribute to the stories that have been passed down through generations, and perhaps providing the most compelling evidence yet of its existence. Number 10. Nighttime Encounter. This video shows a man and his dog on a late-night walk in the woods when they spotted something strange hiding in the darkness. At first, it was hard to tell what it was, but as the camera got closer, A pair of glowing eyes stared back at them from the trees. The man seemed worried about his dog and kept watching the creature carefully. The eyes looked too far apart to belong to a person or even a bear. They were also at a height that made the creature seem pretty big. People who watched the video can't agree on what it could be. Some think it's just a bear, but the way the eyes are set makes that seem unlikely. Others suggest there might be two creatures, but that's also a big question. Could it be the legendary Bigfoot that some say lives in these woods? I think this video is really creepy. Those eyes staring out of the dark give me chills. What do you think? Could it be Bigfoot, or is it something else? Let me know your thoughts. Number 9. Independence Day sighting. On Independence Day, a strange piece of footage was captured that has stirred up quite a bit of debate. The video shows what some believe to be a Bigfoot walking into the frame. It looks directly at the camera, then picks up a baby before quickly running off into the distance. The way the Bigfoot glances nervously at the person holding the camera makes it seem like it's trying to protect its baby. You can even see the baby moving, hugging, and pushing away from the adult Bigfoot. Some viewers claim they can see the facial movements of the adult as well. While a few people have analyzed the video and believe it's real, others think it's just CGI computer-generated imagery. And, personally, I'm skeptical. The way the creature walks seems too much like a human in a costume, or maybe it's just an ape carrying its baby. But to me, it doesn't really look like Bigfoot. What do you think? Could this be real, or just another hoax? Number 8. Bigfoot filmed in Baxter. Clay Shiner, a YouTuber, who uploaded a chilling video on October 27, 2022, that has sent the internet into a frenzy. The footage was captured on his friend Daniel Whitehead's property, and it shows a mysterious, hairy figure lurking just inside the tree line. The incident happened in broad daylight, making the sighting even more unsettling. Clay mentioned in the video description that he and Daniel were exploring the property when they stumbled upon this unusual creature. The figure is seen moving slowly, its form obscured by the dense foliage. I must admit, the video is incredibly creepy. The idea of such a large, unknown creature roaming freely in broad daylight is both fascinating and frightening. It's hard to say for sure what it is, but the resemblance to the legendary Bigfoot is undeniable. What do you think? Could this be a genuine encounter with a mythical creature? Or is there a more mundane explanation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Number 7. Washington's Blue Mountains. In 1994, in the forests of Washington's Blue Mountains, Paul Freeman, a former forest ranger, said he saw a family of Bigfoots. He was in the woods with a camera, hoping to catch a glimpse of these mysterious creatures. The video he took is shaky and blurry. It's hard to see clearly, but Freeman describes what he saw. The video shows a blurry figure moving through the trees. It's hard to tell what it is, but Freeman is sure it's a Bigfoot. Many people who study Bigfoot agree with Freeman. Even though the video isn't very clear, they think it's one of the best pieces of evidence that Bigfoots exist. The Blue Mountains seem to be a place where people often see Bigfoots, and this video makes the mystery even greater. Number 6. Bigfoot Patterson-Gimlin film. The Patterson-Gimlin film is widely considered the most famous Bigfoot footage ever captured. It all began on October 20th, 1967, when Roger Patterson and Robert Gimlin were exploring Sasquatch reports near Bluff Creek in Northern California. While riding horses, they came across an overturned tree. As they approached the tree, they saw a large figure by the creek. Patterson's horse got spooked and reared up. In the chaos, Roger quickly got his 16mm camera out of his saddlebag. By the time he started filming, he was about 120 feet away from the creature. Patterson ran after the Bigfoot, filming as he went. He stopped about 80 feet from the creature and captured the most famous part of the footage. In the video, the Bigfoot turns its head and looks over its right shoulder at Patterson. The creature has long arms, a coned head, a ridge of hair down its back, and a noticeable brow ridge. It walks slowly, turning to look at the men twice. After the last glance, the Bigfoot walks behind some trees, briefly reappears, and then disappears into the forest. The film was shot in the Six Rivers National Forest, about 25 miles from the nearest logging road. It runs for about 59 seconds, with 954 frames. Patterson, who passed away in 1972, always insisted that the creature in the film was real. His friend and filming partner, Bob Gimlin, has denied being part of any hoax and kept mostly quiet about the film until around 2005. The Patterson-Gimlin film remains a cornerstone in Bigfoot research, sparking countless debates and investigations over the years. Number 5. New Bigfoot sighting. This footage was recorded on November 17th in Litchfield County, Connecticut, when a skilled wedding photographer had his DSLR camera ready for an unusual adventure. Yes. When the photographer and his friend heard a strange noise coming from the garbage cans outside, they immediately got concerned. They thought it might be a bear, so they stayed indoors and started filming out the window with the camera. By the time they got the camera set up, the creature had already moved across the road to the edge of a farm field. At first, it looked like a bear, but then it did something shocking. It stood up completely upright and moved up and down before running away. They were scared out of their minds. They called animal control, but the response was less than reassuring. They were told to call back if the creature came back. The movements were so strange that they started to wonder if it could be Bigfoot, even though they didn't believe in that sort of thing. One thing was for sure, they weren't leaving any more fish in the garbage. After posting the video, critics suggested it was all a joke. If it was a joke on them as well. Some said they didn't sound excited enough, but they were trying to stay quiet because the creature was still close by. At the end of the video, you can hear a louder voice. That's the photographer's wife calling out to someone who had just arrived in the driveway.
1, 2.
They think that's what made the creature run away so quickly. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comment section below. Number 4. Skuncape, Bigfoot from Lettuce Lake Park, Florida. In the video, you can see a large creature moving through the swamp. Its long arms and unusual gait suggest it's not a bear. Matt, who was a reader of Bigfoot evidence, recorded a video. While canoeing in the swamps around Lettuce Lake Park near Tampa, Florida, he spotted something strange that he first thought was a bear. But there's a catch. Lettuce Lake Park is a 240-acre park managed by Hillsborough County, and bears usually avoid this area. But he was still unsure about what he had filmed, so he showed the video to a park ranger. She told him that bears don't typically venture into the swamps, and that sightings of them are rare. Even she couldn't identify the creature in the video. Matt wrote in the email saying he never believed much in the skunk ape legends, another name for Florida Bigfoot, but the footage made him reconsider. He noticed the creature moving with long, swinging arms and easily navigating the thick swamp. Matt mentioned, if it's a person, they're either a moron or completely insane for walking, swimming, and diving in a place full of 12-foot alligators and water moccasins. He watched the creature for a while, and when it seemed to notice him, it swam underwater and disappeared. Despite his attempts to find it, the creature was nowhere to be seen when he paddled over. Matt and many others are now speculating if this could be a skunk ape. The footage is intriguing, but the creature's identity remains a mystery. Number 3. Albino Bigfoot caught on camera. This is the video from Carbondale, Pennsylvania, where residents have been rattled by strange noises and disturbances over the past 2 weeks. People in this small town have been reporting odd sounds and sightings around their homes, leading to growing concern about what might be causing these disturbances. In the video, you see a homeowner who, after hearing yet another disturbance in their backyard, decided to capture whatever was going on. The footage starts with someone moving nervously through the wooded area, clearly agitated by the noises. Suddenly, a loud sound makes the camera operator turn sharply, revealing what appears to be an albino Bigfoot, an eerie white-furred figure standing in the dark. The video abruptly cuts off, leaving viewers with a chilling sense of unease. The brief and mysterious clip has only added to the town's anxiety, with many wondering if this albino Bigfoot could be the source of the strange occurrences in their area. What do you think? Is this creature real? Or is there another explanation? Share your thoughts on this eerie footage. Number 2. Bigfoot sighting on Michigan Live Eagle Cam. On the Michigan Live Eagle Cam, set up by the Department of Natural Resources and Carbon TV to monitor a bald eagle family, something unusual was spotted. The camera, mounted to a tree near the Platte River State Fish Hatchery, was intended to focus on the eagles and their nest. In the video, you can see baby eaglets peeping from the nest. Suddenly, an unknown figure appears on the forest floor below. The creature, walking on 2 legs and moving around trees and bushes, catches the attention of viewers. The clip has sparked a lot of discussion. Some people think the figure might be Bigfoot, while others believe it could be someone in a costume or something else entirely. Without clear details or a sense of scale, experts say the video remains interesting but inconclusive. The mystery of the figure continues, leaving many wondering if this is a glimpse of Bigfoot or just an intriguing, unexplained sighting. Number 1. Unexpected Bigfoot sighting in school video project on Prince Edward Island. In 2005, A student named Nathan Wiley and his friend were working on a school video project in the forest on Prince Edward Island. They were filming a scene where someone was supposed to run out of the woods. While they were setting up, something incredible happened. As the boy ran from the trees, a huge black ape-like creature suddenly appeared from the opposite side of the forest. The creature sprinted across the screen at high speed before disappearing back into the woods. The video, shot for a student project, has stirred up some debate. Some people question if the footage is real because it was part of a school assignment. Sasquatch experts think the creature might have been startled by the filming and started running on all fours to escape quickly. The footage remains mysterious and intriguing, adding to the ongoing fascination with Bigfoot sightings. So, each video adds to the mystery of Bigfoot, sparking debates about what these creatures could be. Do you think these clips show the real Bigfoot, or could there be another explanation? Let us know in the comment section below. In the deep Alaskan forest, with tall trees and thick fog, where a giant, hairy monster named Bigfoot is rumored to live. Sounds like a scary story, right? Well, some people believe Bigfoot is real, and a team of explorers called Expedition Bigfoot is on a mission to find it. The team has already found some amazing clues, like super big footprints and handprints no human could make. Will they finally come face to face with this mysterious creature? Let's follow their adventure and find out. But first, let's start with the history. For centuries, Native American tribes across North America have shared spooky stories of huge, sneaky creatures hiding in the thick forests. These stories, passed down through generations, have kept the legend of Bigfoot alive. Described as a gigantic, hairy being that roams the wilderness, Bigfoot has fascinated and scared people for years. This legend took on a new life in 1958 when a newspaper article from California reported the discovery of enormous footprints near a logging camp. These footprints, far too big to be human, sparked widespread curiosity and guesswork. The term Bigfoot quickly caught on, and the search for this mysterious creature became a nationwide craze. The search for Bigfoot has since turned into an ongoing game of hide-and-seek. Explorers, scientists, and enthusiasts have ventured into the wild in hopes of catching a glimpse of the legendary beast. The appeal of Bigfoot has only grown stronger over time, inspiring countless journeys and investigations. One such team, known as Expedition Bigfoot, set out on a daring mission with cameras, determination, and a deep-seated curiosity. The team was led by Russ, a brave leader always ready for adventure. Maria, a scientist who notices every detail, joined him, along with Ronnie, a Bigfoot fan who knows a lot about the legend. The rest of the crew was excited to face the unknown. They set up camp in the heart of the Alaskan wilderness, filled with excitement. For days, they watched their trackers and recorders, hoping to see any sign of Bigfoot. The forest was quiet, with only the sounds of birds, the damp smell of the woods, and lots of mosquitoes. The lack of activity made the team wonder if Bigfoot was just a story. Then, one day, their trackers went crazy. A blip on the screen near a stream showed that something big was moving. Russ and Maria were the first to see this and decided to check it out. Their journey led them across the mainland, where they found a gruesome scene, a killing site with bones and body parts scattered around. This unsettling discovery hinted that something important had happened there, giving them the best clue they had found so far. As they went deeper into the forest, the team came across a huge handprint, at least 3 times bigger than a human hand. Maria and Russ confirmed that the handprint was not human, marking a big step forward in their search. Excited by this find, they quickly reached out to Ronnie, who was just as excited. He came to the island to help them explore more. When Ronnie arrived, he was amazed by how big the handprint was. Nearby, they also found knuckle prints, which suggested that the creature used its hands to help it walk. This showed that Bigfoot could move on 2 legs and all 4s, supporting Maria's earlier idea that the creature had traits of both humans and apes. Maria had previously noted that Bigfoot might show ape-like features when using its hands and knuckles. Meanwhile, at the command center, Bryce got an email from the team around 4:31 a.m. The team wanted Bryce to check the scans they had just sent. Bryce was amazed to see 2 sets of handprints. Ronnie explained that this meant there were several individuals. Bryce wondered if they knew where the creatures were heading. Maria explained that the area was huge, and the land was rough, making it hard to track where the creatures were going. However, She guessed that the creatures might be heading east along the river. The maps showed that the river valley was like a bowl with cliffs all around. Maria hoped they could trap the creatures in this valley and watch them. Bryce suggested they use technology that could scan the whole area thoroughly. He mentioned a tool used to find missing people. Bryce asked the team to send him the coordinates of where they found the handprints. The river valley, surrounded by 3,000-foot mountains, covered 20,000 acres, and the team had split up to cover as much of the area as they could. They hoped that Bryce's technology would improve their search efforts. Bryce drove to meet the drone team, led by tech expert John McBride, who introduced him to the Autel Dragonfish drone. John explained that this fixed-wing drone was mainly used for watching over areas, search and rescue, and capturing people. It had 3 types of cameras: a wide-angle lens for a full view, a 20x optical zoom lens that could see hair color from 800 feet away, and a thermal camera for spotting heat signatures. Bryce was sure that this drone would be very helpful in their search. The Dragonfish drone was unique because it could stay in the air longer than regular drones. Its fixed-wing design helped it stay up by using less battery power, giving it an extra 2 hours of flight time. The drone flew in circles, searching for its target very accurately. Bryce was sure that this advanced technology would be key to their Bigfoot search. Bryce told Maria that he was at the river where it split into 2. Maria and her team were heading towards the river. Bryce and the drone team set up at the west end of the valley where the rivers joined, planning to watch the drones feed. Meanwhile, Ronnie, Russ, and Maria continued their search near the banks of the 2 rivers. The drone team stayed on site until dark, as it became harder to fly the drone safely in low light. John used the drone to locate Russell and Maria. He then found Ronnie's location, letting him know they were 800 feet above him, so they could see Ronnie, but he couldn't see them. This also meant that Bigfoot wouldn't be able to see them. Russell and Maria talked about the huge handprints, with Russell mentioning that such a large hand was unlike anything they had seen before. As the drone kept searching, Bryce saw something moving on the thermal camera. They zoomed in, but the shape disappeared in seconds. When they switched to the regular lens, there was nothing to see. Bryce told Maria that the thermal camera had spotted a human-like shape walking a few miles upstream. He told Maria to head towards the glacier as fast as she could, while Ronnie kept going up the other river. Early in the morning, Ronnie told Bryce in a low voice that he felt something large near the edge of the trees. John moved the drone toward Ronnie's location, and Bryce and John excitedly spotted a moving shape on the thermal screen, 200 yards away from Ronnie. However, the figure vanished again. Bryce told Ronnie to stay where he was and not go near the creature alone. He walked 1.5 miles up the river to help Ronnie search the area where they had spotted the humanoid heat signature. Meanwhile, Russell decided to move from his spot to avoid losing track of the mysterious being. He went into the dark forest, where he found another footprint and a freshly broken tree branch. He soon caught up with Bryce and showed him the new trail. The snow-covered ground helped track the creature. Suddenly, they were hit by a strong smell and found pink patches of snow along with the remains of a fresh kill. Bryce looked at a rib bone and said it seemed to be from an elk or a black-tailed deer. Ronnie found a large bone that led to a surprising discovery. It backed up Maria's earlier guess that early humans used to crack open bones to drink the marrow. This marrow might have been important for the development of the human brain. Bryce pointed out that this scene did not look like usual animal hunting. Then, while checking a suspected Bigfoot hideout,
these are the top 9 scariest Bigfoot videos ever recorded. On April 2, 2021, the Yowie research team set out on a journey to the Gold Coast hinterland, a place well known for possible Yowie sightings. The Yowie is often called Australia's version of Bigfoot. After 2 days of exploring, they set up camp deep in the thick forests of Springbrook National Park, hoping to find signs of the creature. After dinner, Buck Bingham, eager to test out their new thermal camera, wandered a short distance away from the campfire. As he scanned the surroundings, something unusual caught his eye: 2 massive heat signatures about 50 meters away. Through the lens, Buck saw a large head peeking from behind a tree stump. He zoomed in and was stunned to see the glowing outlines of 2 towering figures, each 8 to 9 feet tall. Just as he was about to hit record again, the creatures vanished into the night, leaving Buck in shock. When the team later reviewed the footage, they couldn't shake the feeling that they might have encountered the legendary Yowie. Meanwhile, in late October 2020, a father and his son were driving through Logan Canyon, Utah, a well-known area for rifle hunting. Everything seemed normal until they spotted something strange near the creek bed. At first, they assumed it was just another hunter, but something felt off. The figure wasn't wearing any orange, a crucial safety requirement during hunting season, and its movements were unusual, calm and deliberate, not like the typical heavy steps of someone trekking through the wilderness. Curious but cautious, the father didn't investigate further at the time. However, the sighting lingered in his mind. A few days later, he returned with the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization to take a closer look. Together, they compared the mysterious figure's size to a 6.6, 200-pound man, and the realization was startling. The figure they had seen was easily between 7 and 8 feet tall, with a much wider build than any ordinary human. Whatever they had witnessed wasn't normal, leaving them with an eerie sense of the unknown. While these sightings were happening in the wilds of Utah and Australia, another Sasquatch enthusiast in 2012, Scott Carpenter, had a strange encounter in the woods of Tennessee. While on one of his hunts, he captured footage of a mysterious white figure crouching behind thick foliage. The sight was unsettling, and though it wasn't crystal clear, it was enough to get people talking. Known for his persistence in the Bigfoot community, Scott's reputation added weight to the footage, making it hard to ignore. While some skeptics quickly dismissed it as a trick of the light, Scott wasn't convinced. His dedication to finding the truth kept the discussion alive, with people wondering what the figure could really be. Scott's determination left everyone eager to see what he might discover next in his ongoing quest to uncover the mystery of Sasquatch. Speaking of dedication, Robert Dodson, another Sasquatch hunter, took a more hands-on approach. On September 16, 2014, Dodson went into the thick woods of Oklahoma, focused on one goal: to attract Bigfoot. He carefully set up bait traps with fruit and meat, hoping the smells would bring the creature out. The night was quiet, and the air felt heavy as he watched the tree line for any movement. Hours passed, and just when he thought about giving up, something strange happened. His flashlight caught sight of glowing eyes looking at him from behind a tree. Dodson's heart raced, a mix of fear and excitement filling him. This was the moment he had been waiting for. Even though his camera battery was almost dead, of course at the worst possible time, he ran toward the eyes, hoping to get closer. But in a flash, the creature dashed away, disappearing into the darkness as if it had never been there. Later, when he calmed down and went back to the spot, Dodson guessed the figure was about 8 feet tall, based on the height of the tree it was hiding behind. Was it Bigfoot? He couldn't be sure, but the memory of those glowing eyes stuck with him, leaving him to wonder what he really saw that night in the woods. Next, in 2013, just a day before Halloween, brothers John and Joel Brown sat outside their rural property, the crisp night air filled with the quiet hum of the countryside. They had experienced strange occurrences before, enough to make them cautious. That's why they borrowed a thermal camera from researchers at the Olympic Project, hoping to capture something out of the ordinary should it happen again. As they sat there, watching the dark landscape, the stillness was suddenly interrupted by strange knocking sounds echoing through the night. It was eerie, but not entirely unfamiliar. The brothers exchanged nervous glances, their senses on high alert. Then, in the distance, something caught their eye through the thermal camera. Among a herd of cows in the field, a heat signature stood out, a figure that didn't match any of the animals. Its shape was different, its movement deliberate. Joel quickly started recording, but by the time he focused on the figure, it had moved about 120 feet away, slipping through the shadows like it knew it was being watched. When they later reviewed the footage, researchers were stunned. They estimated that whatever they had seen was at least 7 feet tall and 4 feet wide. The size alone ruled out any normal animal, but skeptics still chimed in, suggesting it could have been a cow. The brothers, however, knew better. The thermal camera didn't show any ears on the figure, a detail that haunted them. They had seen cows before, but this was something else entirely. Whatever it wasn't livestock. The brothers were left wondering what exactly had crossed their path that eerie night. In another strange incident, on January 15, 2016, a YouTuber named Angie Sad captured bizarre footage on her property. As she walked outside, filming casually with her phone, a fast-moving figure zipped through the frame at an unbelievable speed. This wasn't the only time something like this had been caught on camera. On August 8, 2013, Bill and Wendy were driving through the beautiful landscapes of Canada when they decided to take a short hike into the forest. About 200 feet in, they noticed a large, hairy figure about 100 feet away. At first, Bill thought it was a bear looking for food. However, as he looked closer, he realized it didn't resemble any bear he had seen before. Feeling scared, they quickly turned and ran back to their car, worried that the creature might follow them. Once they were safely inside, they watched the shaky video they had taken. The figure was hard to see, but its size was strange. Curious, they began to research other sightings in the area. Their encounter sparked an interest in Bigfoot, and they found many stories about others who had seen the creature. Though some people might say they just imagined it, Bill and Wendy knew what they saw. Their hike turned into an unforgettable adventure, giving them a story to share for years to come. Just like them, Timber Giant, a dedicated Sasquatch researcher, has spent nearly 30 years looking for proof of the mysterious creature. On September 15, 2013, while exploring the woods of southern Ontario, he suddenly heard a strange sound that made him stop in his tracks: stone knocking. It was an unusual sound that caught his attention immediately. Curious and excited, Timber Giant followed the noise and saw a reddish figure about 100 feet away. He could hardly believe his eyes when he realized what he was looking at. With adrenaline pumping through him, he raised his camera and started to film, knowing this could be a significant moment in his research. As he recorded, his heart raced. The figure appeared to be aware of his presence, moving in a way that suggested intelligence. Just as he thought he was capturing something amazing, the creature vanished, leaving him both thrilled and confused. Later, as he reviewed the footage, he realized he might have captured a real sighting of Sasquatch. Sharing his discovery with other researchers sparked lively discussions about how Sasquatch might communicate, especially through stone knocking. This debate stirred up curiosity among fellow enthusiasts. Ultimately, Timber Giant's experience reminded him that the search for Sasquatch is not just about finding proof, but it's also about the excitement of the adventure and the stories that come from the wild. With renewed energy, he packed his gear for the next trip, eager to uncover more secrets hidden in the woods, knowing that every sound and sight adds to the larger story of this mysterious creature. And, in October 2022, a TikTok user named California Dream 1382 uploaded a video showing a similar creature leaping from a tree. But what made this sighting particularly strange was that the creature's eyes were visible even when the rest of its body wasn't. Whether you believe in Bigfoot or not, these encounters, from Utah to Australia to Tennessee, all add to the ongoing mystery of what might be lurking in the woods. With cameras and thermal equipment at the ready, who knows what might be captured next? If you ever find yourself in the wilderness, remember, hit record, because you never know when you'll capture the next big piece of evidence.
That looks like a Bigfoot.
Insane. That's a beaver. It's going around in circles, so they hit their...
The government suddenly shut down the popular show Expedition Bigfoot after the team found something terrifying deep in the forest. The crew, which had been searching for any signs of Bigfoot with their advanced equipment, got a shock when their tech picked up something big and unexpected. It was enough to send chills down everyone's spine. Rumors spread quickly that they had found real evidence of Bigfoot, so real, in fact, that the government pulled the plug on the show. But why would the government shut things down after such a discovery? Let's start from their beginning findings when the team felt something was off in this forest. This was isolated, dense, and felt untouched by humans. The deeper they went, the more it felt like they were stepping back in time, into a realm few had ever entered. The trees stretched high, blocking out sunlight, while thick moss coated nearly every inch of the ground. It was the kind of place where you might second-guess every step, wondering what could be watching you from the shadows. Early into their expedition, they stumbled upon a disturbing sight. Scattered bones lay on the forest floor, still bearing pieces of flesh. This wasn't a casual predator's leftovers, but it was as if a violent, brutal event had taken place. It sent a shockwave through the team, forcing them to confront the reality of what they were dealing with. Yet, they pressed on, determined to find answers. They were chasing a legend after all, and this unsettling discovery only added to their determination. Not long after, their persistence led to an even more shocking discovery. They found a massive, unmistakable handprint pressed into the mud. It was enormous, far too big to belong to any known animal in the area. The sight of it was so eerie that seasoned explorers, Russ and Maria, were momentarily stunned. They knew they were onto something. This random mark was evidence that something big, strong, and real had walked there recently. The excitement was palpable. Maria immediately relayed the information to Ronnie, who quickly joined them on the island, astonished by the size and clarity of the handprint. It was a breakthrough, undeniable proof that a creature, likely Bigfoot, was out there. Nearby, they found more prints, knuckle prints that seemed to show the creature moved in a way that was oddly similar to humans and apes, almost a blend of both. Last year, Maria had pointed out that a skull she'd found had similar characteristics, with notable traits of both human and ape skulls.
Would be able to walk bipedally, but it would also spend time on all fours.
These new findings supported her theory, suggesting this creature wasn't just powerful, but had complex physical capabilities. The team's excitement was tempered by a deep-seated unease. They were in the presence of something both unknown and potentially dangerous. As the crew analyzed these findings, Russ noticed something startling. There were two distinct sets of tracks. This meant they were likely dealing with multiple creatures. The realization spurred the team to ramp up their efforts. They carefully photographed, measured, and examined each track, their curiosity pushing them past the challenges of the unforgiving wilderness. They suspected that these creatures might use the river as a travel route, possibly as a source of food or even a hideout. This theory guided their approach, leading them to focus their search on a valley near the river, hoping to uncover the creatures they sought. Their resources were running thin, but they refused to give up. Deploying drones equipped with heat-sensing cameras, they scanned the area from above while the ground team combed the riverbanks. The tension in the air was thick as Bryce led the drone operations, coordinating the search teams via radio. Every rustle in the underbrush, every crack of a branch, had the team on edge. They were actively pursuing what could be the discovery of a lifetime. As the drone hovered over the trees, its heat-sensing camera picked up a vaguely human-shaped figure moving through the shadows. Anticipation surged through the team. Could this be the creature they were after? Yet, just as they were about to zoom in, the figure slipped away, vanishing into the depths of the forest.
It's gone now.
Can you go to the regular lens?
Frustrated but undeterred, the team pressed on, acutely aware of the risks. They were venturing deeper into an environment that seemed intent on hiding its secrets. As darkness descended, Ronnie, Maria, and Russ followed the river's edge, while Bryce's team managed the drone high above, keeping a watchful eye on the dense canopy. In a critical moment, the drone detected something moving several miles from Maria and Russ's location. Bryce informed them quickly, speculating that the creature might be heading toward the glacier. Maria and Russ adjusted their course, hoping to intercept it. Meanwhile, Ronnie, moving cautiously through a thick part of the forest, felt the weight of the night close in on him. He was alone in a dark and isolated area, but Bryce used the drone's tech to enhance Ronnie's visibility in the low light, directing him with real-time thermal images. In their pursuit, Ronnie stumbled upon another shocking discovery. There, in the mud, were large footprints spaced far apart, indicating a massive stride. Broken branches littered the area around them, a silent testament to the creature's power. With a handheld thermal camera, Ronnie tried to scan the surrounding forest, hoping to catch another glimpse. However, the thick foliage made it nearly impossible. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, and for a split second, Ronnie thought he'd come face to face with the creature. But it was Bryce who'd come to assist. The two decided to follow the trail further, venturing deeper into the darkness, driven by the hope of a direct encounter. Their flashlights barely pierced the dense woods as they followed a path that seemed well-trodden by the creature, leading them closer to the glacier. The cold intensified, and an eerie silence filled the air. It wasn't long before they stumbled upon a chilling sight: a freshly killed animal, its blood staining the snow. The scene was brutal, with bones and flesh scattered, hinting at a powerful predator. For a moment, Ronnie and Bryce felt the weight of their mission. They were tracking something that could tear apart prey with terrifying ease. The team studied the remains and noted that some key parts of the animal were missing, raising the possibility that this creature wasn't just a random hunter. Perhaps it was following a pattern, picking its prey with precision. The snapped bones brought to mind early humans, who broke bones to access marrow, a nutrient-rich resource that contributed to brain development. This behavior hinted that the creature was something with a purpose, something closer to us than anyone had previously thought. The night stretched on as Ronnie, Bryce, Maria, and Russ continued their search. The forest was dense and dark, and each team member was acutely aware of the stakes. They weren't just chasing a mythical creature. They were facing an unknown being, one that might be as clever as it was strong. The drone captured blurry thermal images, showing rapid movements, almost as if the creature was deliberately avoiding them. Every time they closed in, it slipped away, leaving only traces. The search grew increasingly intense as morning approached. The team knew daylight would bring clarity, revealing details hidden in the dark. Yet, exhaustion was setting in. They'd been tracking the creature for hours, and frustration grew with every dead end. Just as they were about to regroup, a member of the team spotted a flash of movement along the ice ridge. Russ caught a fleeting glimpse of a humanoid shape that quickly disappeared again, reigniting their determination. They were closer than ever. The freezing temperatures made the environment harsh and unforgiving. Only a creature with thick fur and resilience could survive here, and they wondered if this landscape was part of why the creature had chosen to stay hidden. Eventually, Maria spotted an ice cave in the distance, its entrance shadowed and foreboding. It was a tantalizing possibility. If the creature had made a home there, it could explain how it had managed to remain unseen for so long. As the team ventured closer to the cave, a sudden, eerie silence enveloped them. It was as if the forest itself was holding its breath. They moved cautiously, aware that each step brought them nearer to the truth. Bryce and Ronnie, lagging to examine other clues, spotted a high claw mark on a tree. The mark was unusually high, and it didn't match the parallel scratches typically left by bears. This was something else entirely, something far more mysterious. At the cave entrance, Maria and Russ felt a surge of anticipation. They could sense they were on the verge of a monumental discovery. However, their excitement was tinged with dread. They had pursued this creature across unforgiving terrain, but now, standing at the edge of the unknown, they felt a primal fear creeping in. The temperature dropped, and a sudden gust of wind echoed through the cave. The team hesitated. Every instinct told them to turn back. Then, without warning, the silence was shattered by a low, guttural growl that seemed to come from deep within the cave. The sound was unlike anything they had ever heard, a blend of animalistic rage and eerie intelligence that reverberated through the icy cavern walls. The growl echoed, filling the air with a vibration that made the hair on their necks stand up. Maria glanced at Russ, her eyes wide, and both shared the same unspoken thought. Whatever was in there was no ordinary creature. Ronnie, who had just caught up, barely had time to react before the growl intensified. It was closer now, and the sheer force of it sent a chill down their spines. Yet, they couldn't look away. They were on the verge of uncovering a mystery that had haunted humanity for centuries. With a deep breath, Bryce tightened his grip on his flashlight, and together they took a cautious step forward. As they moved deeper into the cave, the air grew colder, and the walls seemed to close in around them. Their flashlights barely penetrated the darkness, casting long, wavering shadows that danced with each movement. Suddenly, Maria spotted something glinting on the ground. A series of broken bones, scattered in a way that suggested a meal had been interrupted. Some of the bones looked suspiciously human. The implications were grim, but the team pressed on, driven by a morbid curiosity. If this creature was capable of hunting and killing not only animals, but possibly humans, they were dealing with something far more intelligent and dangerous than they had anticipated. The evidence pointed to a predator at the top of the food chain, one that had successfully evaded humans for centuries. Just as they reached the deepest part of the cave, the air turned deathly still. They paused, listening, barely breathing. Then, in the dim glow of their flashlights, they saw it. A towering figure, partially obscured by the shadows but undeniably massive. Its eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the light with a piercing intensity. It stood on two legs, covered in thick, matted hair, with muscular limbs that hinted at a strength beyond anything they'd seen. The creature took a step toward them, its movements slow and deliberate, as if assessing them. For a moment, everyone froze, caught in a silent standoff. They were staring at what could only be described as Bigfoot, and it was staring back, equally aware of them. The realization hit hard. They had found Bigfoot, but now they were the intruders in its territory. Ronnie tried to raise his camera, but his hands were shaking. The creature tilted its head, almost curiously, and let out a low, guttural sound that seemed more like a warning than a threat. This was its domain, and they were trespassers. Before they could make a decision, the creature suddenly lunged forward, its speed startling for something so large. Panic seized the team, and in a blur of movement, they scrambled to get out of the cave. They ran through the dark, stumbling over rocks and slipping on the icy floor, with the creature's heavy footsteps echoing behind them. Ronnie and Bryce were the first to reach the cave entrance, gasping for air, but Maria and Russ were only a few steps behind. They could feel the creature's presence close on their heels, but as they burst out into the open air, it stopped at the mouth of the cave, watching them from the shadows. For a moment, it simply stood there, as if daring them to return. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, it retreated into the darkness, leaving the team breathless and shaken. Back at camp, they tried to process what had just happened. Each team member had seen the creature, felt its presence, and knew that they had come closer to Bigfoot than anyone ever had before. But instead of a triumphant victory, there was an overwhelming sense of dread. They couldn't shake the feeling that they had narrowly escaped something far more dangerous than they had bargained for. Word of their encounter spread quickly, and soon the entire expedition was called off. It was deemed too risky to continue, and the team reluctantly packed up their equipment. But they knew they were leaving behind one of the most significant discoveries of their lives. In the days that followed, each team member grappled with what they had seen. They had come to uncover the truth, but instead, they were leaving with more questions than answers. What exactly was this creature? Was it truly Bigfoot, or was it something else entirely? And perhaps most importantly, what had they disturbed in the forest that night? The legend of Bigfoot had always been shrouded in mystery, but now it was personal. They had seen it, felt its presence, and survived to tell the tale. But in the end, the creature remained as elusive as ever, retreating back into the shadows where it would continue to haunt the forests and the minds of those who dared to search for it. As they drove away from the site, leaving the dark, ancient woods behind, the team couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end. They had uncovered a glimpse of something extraordinary, but it was as if the creature had allowed them just enough to keep them questioning, to keep them coming back. And in the heart of the forest, somewhere beyond human reach, the legend of Bigfoot continued.
Welcome to the top 12 creepiest Bigfoot videos ever. From eerie encounters in the wild to spine-chilling footage, these videos will have you questioning what's really out there. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, let's dive into the mystery of Bigfoot. Number 12. Encounter in Provo Canyon. The YouTuber known as Beardcard and his friends had a spine-chilling experience while camping in Provo Canyon near Squaw Peak and Little Rock Canyon. They spotted some deer up on a hill and decided to get a closer look. But as they approached, they saw what they initially thought was a bear. Just as they were trying to figure out what it was, the creature stood up and looked directly at them. Terrified, they ran straight back to their car, leaving their tent and gear behind. It was a chaotic retreat, and they're pretty sure their stuff is still up there. In their video, Beardcard and his friends are seen running for their lives. They told Fox 13 News that they had no idea what the creature was. Some people suggested it might just be someone in a gorilla suit trying to scare them. But with deer hunting season in full swing and hunters everywhere, they doubt anyone would be out there in a costume. They even ruled out the possibility of it being a bear. The group didn't believe in Bigfoot before this encounter, but now they're not so sure. Could it have been Bigfoot, or was it something else entirely? The mystery remains unsolved. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Number 11. The Beast of Gum Hill. On April 5, 2009, around 6:30 p.m., Ericus Maximus captured something extraordinary while riding his ATV through the trails of Gum Hill. Known for his explorations and a keen eye for the unusual, Ericus had heard the local legends of a creature called the Beast of Gum Hill, but never expected to see it himself. But that day he finally captured this hairy creature. This wasn't the first time Ericus had encountered the BOGH. He'd seen it once before, but it vanished before he could document the sighting. This time, however, his camera was rolling, and what he recorded could be the first ever video footage of this elusive beast. Described as a towering figure, around 7 feet tall, and estimated to weigh about 350 pounds, the BOGH is a reclusive, non-aggressive creature that has been the subject of local folklore for over a century. This video marks a new chapter in the BOGH legend, paying tribute to the stories that have been passed down through generations, and perhaps providing the most compelling evidence yet of its existence.